Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV for your daily news. Will and I are here to talk through your daily news. Yeah. Liverpool Twitter has gone into meltdown today with legitimate reason because there's we call it movement. There's something
going on.
Stuff. Yeah. There's things happening. So we'll come to that straight off the bat, and then we've got some more interesting stuff to follow. Some stuff that isn't us talking about Keita. So if you really want to talk about that stuff, stay tuned for a few minutes. So Leipzig owner Dietrich Mateschitz.
Something along those lines.
Fantastic. You know what? If it's genuinely, apparently he's got a reported worth of 15.4 billion. We were
talking about earlier, yeah.
I would change my name to Mateschitz if I had that much money, because who's gonna
laugh at you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There you go. Smack him around the face with a billion quid and not be arsed. So this is the guy we looked into. This is the guy who not just owns RB Leipzig, but he's the co-founder and 49% shareholder of Red Bull, the entity
whole
itself.
Thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to do the quote?
Yes. So he started off saying, "We don't sell any of our players just to get money." This is all stuff that he's told Bild, presumably in a recent interview.
Yeah.
He said, "Lately we got a 75 million euro offer for Naby Keita." That's the same amount that was being quoted as Liverpool apparently bidding. He said, "No way. He has a contract and he will accomplish it." And he followed that up with saying, "To sell him would not only be a proof of distrust to our fans, but also the wrong sign for our players like Timo Werner, who is in demand too."
Yeah, that's pretty conclusive sounding, that, isn't it? Great. After our debate about how there was one set of things being reported and another set being said behind closed doors. Now, there has been a rumour, which we'll say it's a rumour for now, that apparently Keita's agent is over in Hong Kong continuing talk. Yeah. So this deal isn't necessarily dead, but it's starting to feel very much like this is just one of those deals that, Liverpool have done are going to do everything in their power, and then it's not going to come off and things we might have to move on.
It does feel like that day is eventually going to come where it's going to come out that it just says Liverpool have ended their interest in Naby Keita. They've decided they're not going to get the player, and everyone's just going to melt down and lose their minds.
I think it's very much a case of how Liverpool move on from it, if they choose to move on from it, and how they choose to move on from it, and that's in terms of what players they go for, because so much of the talk has been very much like there is no genuine backup to him because they don't feel there's a player out there who does the
same thing as Naby Keita, yeah. And I remember you talking on a podcast maybe a couple of weeks ago about whether or not Liverpool should have a plan B, or whether they should just say if they can't get their top targets, then don't worry about it. Someone did ask Jurgen Klopp about whether they had a plan B in the transfer market, and he said it's more likely that we will sign someone than sign no one. Yeah. So presumably, if we are moving on from Naby Keita, that means we are going to look at alternatives. Obviously, they're not going to be as good as Naby Keita because Jurgen Klopp is desperate to sign him. But
yeah, and the fact that they're prepared to go so high on it. The only issue for this, and we're going to be doing the Reds transfer roundup today, Steele's show on the website, and it's a question I will post to the group there, but I'm interested to know people's answers in the comments below, which we'll come to in a moment. This is the kind of situation that when Man United are faced with this situation, they just chuck another 20 million or what, they just chuck a ludicrous sum out. Not all the time, but in recent years, Man United have become very good at just go. Look, Pogba's the best example of this. Now, Paul Pogba, absolutely not worth the money that he was paid for him. Not to suggest he's a bad player; he's a very, very, very good footballer. But they decided they wanted him. Juventus had no need to sell him. They knew his value. Man United had to go and put a ridiculous offer in to make that happen. It does make you wonder whether that's 75 million euros equates to about 66 million quid. Yeah. Whether Liverpool just go in with another 10 million on top and see if that's enough. But it does feel as though it won't be accepted. But you'd like to think every player's got a
every player at the end of the day has got a bit of a value and a bit of a price. But it does also come down to whether or not the club want to sell. But I think at the end of the day, Liverpool, they don't have money to burn like Man United do. And we talked earlier about the potential for selling to buy, and Liverpool maybe just selling more players to try and raise the funds for Keita. But the thing is, we aren't in like the position maybe where Man U were, where they had a player like Di Maria who was surplus to requirements. They could sell him, get 50 million quid, and the fans wouldn't lose their minds over it.
Yeah.
Whereas Liverpool are not in that position at
Exactly.
the
I
moment,
think that in terms of the players that would be out, there's not, you can raise a bid of money, like, you know, we'll come on to it in a minute, like there's a Kev Stewart bid on the table apparently. We've seen Lucas just move again, we'll mention that in a second. And then there's a few players that we know are going to be, we would prefer to let go, the Alberto Morenos, etc. But I don't see that the money, relatively speaking, that those will raise would make a massive, you know,
wouldn't make a massive difference, and they're all players that we were expecting to sell anyway, and this is the kind of price that we were expecting to probably pay for Naby Keita. I don't think Liverpool went into this summer thinking that they'd have to spend more than 75 million euros on any of their top targets. So, I mean, we've been thrown a curveball here, and I'm not sure we can really deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be interesting to see what happens next, of course. Like, but you know, the problem with this, but it's very similar to Liverpool's statement on Van Dijk. It sounds very definitive. Like, you know, you've set your stall out, and to come away from that stall, you know, to change your tact on that, makes you look weak somehow. So it's a very, very strange set of circumstances, and based solely on the wording, you'd imagine that would be the end of the Keita stuff, but I'm sure it will rumble on for a little bit longer. And if not, I would like personally, and again, people's thoughts, I would like, if Liverpool have got a backup target, I don't want to know who it is, I just want it done. And I would like us to just go, okay, right, you know, I don't want 2 weeks of it being drip fed out in the news.
Yeah, and sort of prove that this Keita thing is a standalone case and is just the result of RB Leipzig faffing around with the deal, and actually Liverpool are capable of getting deals over the line fairly simply.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Moving on then, Lucas Leiva obviously completed his move to Lazio yesterday, £5 million. I mean, we had a chat about this in the office, didn't we? That you're obviously a bit younger than I am.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about how I think the people who don't. Everyone's sad to see Lucas go in some form, I think. I am, because I always had a soft spot for him. But it's telling that I never really thought of it this way. That as a sort of different generation, you grew up with him being good almost.
A good footballer, yeah.
As opposed to going through the tough period in
when
the
he was
early
getting
days.
booed, yeah.
So, you know, I've seen a lot of quite emotional responses to him moving on. Yeah. And I guess something you can relate to some extent.
Well, yeah, I think because obviously one of the things that stands out to me about Lucas is the fact that there isn't really another footballer like him. I can't think of many footballers nowadays who would stay at a club for 10 years knowing that they're never going to be first choice, they're never going to be part of that starting 11, and are still happy to stick around and work when the manager asks them to. So in that regard, I will miss him. Yeah,
absolutely. The only thing that's tainted this slightly is that horrendously cringeworthy goodbye video from the Liverpool players. Don't put that on the internet, Liverpool. Send that to him. That's a lovely gesture. Lovely gesture. Just send it to Lucas. WhatsApp it to him. We transfer it. Whatever. Just don't make that public, because it's weird. And it's not weird that the messages are being said. They're nice. It's weird the amount of players who are hanging around doing nothing.
The ones who are creepily standing in the background, and just kind of staring down the camera. It's haunting.
Yes, terrible. Genuinely terrible. But Lucas Leiva will be missed. There's a little Lucas Leiva tribute video going to be going up on the YouTube channel a little bit later on today, so stay tuned for that. Very, very good stuff, and he will definitely be missed. I love Lucas Leiva so much, so they were crazy. One of our first bits of Redmen merchandise back in the day was a Lucas Leiva fan club t-shirt, because I'm a weirdo like that. Sheyi Ojo then, apparently loan deals have been agreed with. We knew Middlesbrough was likely, but Fulham became the latest club yesterday.
I mean, it seems that we're continuing this trend of trying to do every single summer transfer in a weird way.
Yes.
And that includes now just agreeing deals with multiple clubs at the same time.
and then
just sort of seeing what happens with it, really. Yeah. I think what's happened is Fulham have put an offer that we like. Borough have put an offer that we like. Newcastle are still sort of lurking, but they haven't really made a similar offer to Fulham and Borough. And apparently it now just comes down to what Sheyi Ojo would prefer. Personally, I'd rather see him at Fulham, because I think he'd get more attacking done there. We saw Borough last season, they're not an attacking side at all. But it's up to the player now. It looks like he's going to go and hopefully get a bit of experience.
I want him tapping up Ryan Sessegnon for us all next season. Would be tremendous. Now I have a vision of this of now, like you've got Borough and you've got Fulham and you maybe even a Newcastle, whatever. And it's like that scene in The Simpsons where the Simpson kids go and live with the Flanders and they're going to baptise them, and Maggie has the choice between the Simpsons and the Flanders, and they go, come on, and like that, literally just put him in the middle of the room and see which one he goes to, see which one he prefers. Fair play to him. I mean, I'm a little disappointed that we can't find a Premier League loan for him, if I'm honest.
I suppose maybe it's to do with game time, and I think that's why
right.
the Fulham and Borough deals were preferred to the Newcastle. Maybe Newcastle, a Premier League club, weren't prepared to offer the same amount of game time. So
absolutely. Yeah. Okay, Juve still interested in Emre Can. We kind of knew this, and until he signs a new contract, I guess that's going to continue to be a thing.
Yeah, I mean, the key thing to remember is when you look at the actual article, which is from an Italian newspaper, I can't remember the name of it exactly. It also says that they're looking at like Blaise Matuidi and Nemanja Matic as well. So they've got multiple targets. So presumably if Liverpool do an RB Leipzig and just irritate them and tell them to go away constantly, then hopefully that one will fall by the wayside.
Absolutely. So I guess the biggest news of the day, really, in terms of things that are going to happen, Kev Stewart has left Liverpool's tour in Hong Kong because rumours of an 8 million bid, or rising to 8 million offer from Hull City, seemed to be a real thing. And it was funny. I was getting asked the question in our subscribers group yesterday about him and whether he could like take over Lucas's role of being a bit of a utility man in the squad. And then within 24 hours, it looks like he's on his way. Strange that in a season where we're looking to grow the squad, it says to me that we surely must be in for another centre mid, because that's basically two defensive mids who are going to be out the club.
That's what worries me. And I mean, I said this in a video that I did last night before Kev Stewart had even left, that you look at Liverpool's squad now that Lucas Leiva's left, and there aren't really any defensive midfielders there. We've got a lot of midfielders, we've got a lot of options there, but we haven't got anyone who's an out-and-out defensive-minded midfielder who isn't interested in getting forward at all. So maybe that's something that's worth keeping tabs on, and hopefully we should be bringing someone in that regard at some point this window.
Absolutely. But we're going to come to your comments in a moment. I know there's some people mentioning Muller, which I'm sure we'll be delighted to discuss. Spirit of Shankly had a behind closed doors meeting with some of the Hillsborough families and survivors yesterday to start the ball rolling on discussions with regards to safe standing / rail seating. Now, they are having an open meeting this Saturday, 12:15, at the Liner Hotel in Liverpool City Centre. So anyone who wants to get down there, and they've put on the post like have a reasonable discussion about this thing, and they've got questions about it and they want answers. Please, we do recommend going down. I would love to be there. I'm actually going away on holiday on Friday, but we're going to try and see if we can get some coverage of it. But if not, anyone who wants to go down there and wants to feed back to us as well, please do. Whether you are for or against, or if you're staunchly one way or the other and you want to get a little bit more information, I would highly recommend getting involved with that. So let's get into the comments then. Yeah, a few people shouting it, like Asa, Mate, there's a few more, James Cheney as an example, and probably someone else who I can't see right now. Thomas Muller, you saw something on this?
There's something going on about Thomas Muller. Apparently, with James Rodriguez coming in at Bayern Munich, there's some rumblings that he might be on his way out the club. But there are other clubs, like apparently Chelsea are interested in everything. And I think we just said that he's not really a Liverpool signing, is he? I mean, maybe if Thomas Muller was 21, he's the kind of player that we bring in. But he's going to cost a fair bit of money at the end of the day, especially if a lot of other big European clubs are in for him. Mm-hmm. So even if we do want him, I can't really see us signing him.
I just don't, I mean, I really like Thomas Muller. Yeah. Really, really like him. There's just a few players that have played for Bayern over the years, and obviously prior to him joining United, like Bastian Schweinsteiger was always one of my favourite German players. I'd just love to have him, just to be able to watch more of him play. Just to figure out what type of footballer he is, because he's been playing professional football at the highest level for like 10 years, and I still couldn't tell you.
We can't tell what he does.
I can't tell you how he manages to be so good at the game, because he's got his the socks at half mast. Kind of seems to stroll about the place and score loads of goals, and I can't figure out how he's managed to be at Bayern Munich all this time and do it. But I would love to know the answer.
For scientific reasons, not for football reasons. We should sign him.
Well, for both, but for pure research purposes, absolutely. OB says, why can't Keita force a move? Keita probably could force a move. There was something I read yesterday that says the problem we've got is that Keita and Van Dijk are both like nice guys. And they look kind of laid back, and it's not necessarily in their personalities to be dickheads and force things through, which might be, to the detriment. Whereas you can imagine certain other players might go on strike, or they might kick up a real fuss. Whereas Keita kind of set his stall out, didn't he, and said he wanted to be respectful to Leipzig for what they've done to him. But that's where he's starting to get into that territory, I feel, where he might need to do something like that if this is actually to make any progress forward.
Well, yeah, I mean, I read something from a couple of people who are German and know a lot more about the club. Please let me go. So he club in friendlies and everything. So it's probably going to come to his agent, maybe. We need to hope that his agent's a bit of a Mino Raiola kind of figure, someone who just absolutely loves money. And so we'll be happy to just see what Liverpool are offering and say, come on, let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. NKE Media says buy Suarez back. Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be lovely.
That's one of those situations where you absolutely would forget ages of players and how much they cost. Just do it. Just buy Suarez and win the league. Sai?
The stream's playing up. Video output low.
Oh, well. Apologies to everyone who's watching. We'll plough through because if the worst comes to worst, we'll upload it after the fact. But
I've got a couple of good comments.
Go for it.
Crackshot554 said hashtag piss in a Red Bull can. Michael Cook said if Keita actually moves, could he live up to all the hype?
That's the biggest issue that Liverpool face, that we're crossing into the territory now of what we were saying earlier on. If you add to that, if Liverpool had to do, let's say it's just something mad, and I'm not saying Liverpool have the money to do this, but let's say Liverpool had to throw 100 million quid at Keita because they just decided, no, we've gone all in, we can't pull out at this point, we've just got to get a deal across the line. Like, there is so much additional weight to that he's gonna have to carry on his shoulders. That for a young lad coming to a new league.
He is only 22 years old. Yeah,
exactly. That would be a problem. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest. I'd rather see us have that problem and deal with it than be like, oh no, forget it. He might struggle with a bit of pressure. I'll pack it in, then go home. If they don't accept 20p, then there's no point in being interested. I mean, this is the thing. It's one of the key arguments that I see online, particularly, and in general about Liverpool, is that these things shouldn't be an issue. If you're good enough to play for Liverpool, if you're good enough to play for Liverpool, you should be able to live up to that pressure.
I mean, if there's anything we've learned from this transfer market as well, it's that the fee doesn't really mean that much anymore in terms of actually reflecting the quality of the player. It doesn't mean that much at all. It's simply about just paying as much as a club need. But I think, if he does come to Liverpool, obviously we've been talking about him for so long that he has been hyped up so much, and we should probably maybe lay off him a little bit and just not expect too much of him and not go into a complete meltdown if it turns out that he's not Steven Gerrard in his prime already at the age of 22. But I think if he does sign, obviously he's going to have a bit of pressure going on him, and hopefully he'll be able to deal with that. But as it stands, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So
okay, great.
We've got the world's angriest super chat here, £5.
Ooh, super chat, woo! Or,
Are we getting fucking trolled? Bunch of German twats, shut up and take our money.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, there we go. I don't think we can do any better than ending on that. So thank you very much for watching the news show this morning. If you want more from Will, you can check out LFC Focus. You can click the annotation logo on the screen there. If you want to subscribe to my channel as well, Mates TV, you can do. Click there, watch more videos, and check back on the website, the redmentv.com, late on today, early tomorrow morning. Reds transfer roundup, picking apart all of Liverpool's transfers, ins and outs, and what does it all mean. Exclusive to the website. Watch it and be better at understanding Liverpool and transfers. That'll do. Cheers. Ta-ra.